Guys, we got a little more information today. Eldora, they released some gameplay footage and I checked it out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it, what I think, and anything else that pops up in my head, I'll bring it up. I kind of freewheel things when I do these videos, but I'm going to try to keep it somewhat organized. I wrote down a couple of key points about the gameplay footage, so I'm gonna go through that. And the first thing, graphics. Like I told you guys, the game isn't gonna be a leap above last year, like an entire whole new level. But I gotta say, the game does look improved. The lighting is it's obvious that they did a lot of improvements in terms of lighting and shading, and you could see the reflection of the lights off the car, and I like it. And they could have just left it like last year and focused on everything else, but the fact that they clearly did make some improvements on the graphics, I got to give them credit for that. The game does look better. Like I said, it's not like mind blowing, or it doesn't compete with the other games that are coming out. It's not on that level. So I've talked about it before. So, as long as you understand that, you can probably appreciate the improvements. And there are improvements. And it is more noticeable than I thought it would be. So that's kind of a surprise. Watching this race nighttime at Eldora with the lights beaming off the cars, I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised. So that's a check in in the column for the graphics as far as what could be done. The other thing I noticed, the sound of the game is just way better. Okay, not only the engine sounds and the way the vehicles sound, but the spotter sounds much better this year. I like the fact that it really sounds like someone talking over the radio. Last year was a little too clear, too wasn't realistic, and it it seemed, at least just from this video, that the spotter really does sound like the spotter system sounds like it's accurate. Now, how accurate remains to be seen. I think that's one of those things that you have to really play through the game through a long period of time before you really get a good grasp of how improved it is. But so far it's pretty evident that they did make improvements to the spotter. They didn't talk a lot about it, and this is one of those areas where I was talking about earlier about I want to see some surprises. You don't got to tell us everything, just let us see things that and find out on our own. And that's a pleasant surprise right there. I like the spotter. He's busy. I like a spotter that talks. Okay. Um, yeah, it could be a little repetitive. It could might be a lot for some people, but I like it as long as it's accurate. As long as it sounds realistic, that's what I want. I want to feel like I'm a real driver. So I want that spotter talking to me. And he just my biggest thing was it wasn't accurate last year, and this, just judging from this video, sounds much better. Not only the quality of the sound, but the accuracy. So that's another check in the column for these guys. Physics, I can't say too much about it. It just, I don't know a lot about Eldora and what it's like to race at a track like that. Very few people actually know what it's really like. But I gotta say, the trucks slid around a bit, and I know there's some people that are gonna say, "Oh, you know what? It's not realistic. You can hold the throttle wide open." But if you really pay attention, you could hear the guy was never on the throttle throughout the entire lap. Um, I saw the video on Real Radman's channel, so he deserves credit for posting this stuff as usual. And he did also mention about the physics. He said the same thing, and I liked it. it looks like a fun track. Um, I don't know how realistic it is, to be honest. So, but I don't have a problem with that. As long as you can't be full 100% on throttle all the way around. And from what I saw, you always heard him lifting throughout the entire lap. Now, here's the problem I have. Now, according to Real Radman, this gameplay was set on 103 difficulty on simulation. I found it to be too easy. I mean, this guy was blowing by the field. Too easy for my taste. Now, I know 103 is not full like 105, but it's still very close to 105, which is what I believe is the max. So, if you set it to 105, it's only going to be slightly more challenging, and it just feels like it just looked too easy. And I hope I'm wrong, but if that was simulation at 103 difficulty, I know the game is still a work in progress. I really hope they address that. It just looked too easy. And I could imagine if you have a halfway decent setup, it'll even be easier. Um, so I don't know enough about it to talk further about it, but I want to see them put out some gameplay footage where it's difficult and you see that you're fighting for single spots. Um, he pretty much blew by the field, and if that's 103 difficulty on simulation, it's too easy. So that bothers me. So I got to keep it real. I'm really excited about everything they're doing, and it does look like a ton of fun to race at Eldora. And I guarantee you that, at least for the first few weeks, that's what everyone's going to run. They're going to be online. You're going to see lobbies of Eldora, Eldora, Eldora. That's what I think is going to happen. So it looks like fun. I can't wait to try it. The other thing that bothers me is they keep giving you this third-person view. I hate that. Show us some in-car cockpit views, extended. And like I said before, the sound is way better. Let me hear how this thing sounds when you're in the cockpit, in first-person mode. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. Show me a few laps of that. And they keep showing you that third-person view, which to me, in just my opinion, it gives the game an arcadey feel. It takes away from a little bit of that realistic vibe that I like. This is not a simulator, and we all have to come to grips with that. It's not going to have the physics of iRacing or even Project Cars or these other games. Those games are ahead by a good substantial amount in terms of physics and graphics, okay? But until they rebuild this game from the ground up, this is pretty much what we have. So what I think we should do is judge this game based on past NASCAR games, okay? And for me, the best games are like the Thunder Series 2004-2005 from EA and Dirt to Daytona. These are the pinnacle of NASCAR games. And yes, these games are really old, which just goes to show you how bad NASCAR game development has become. For me, it started going downhill in 2006. It wasn't a terrible game, but that's where the decline began. And I remember people were like, "Oh, EA sucks. It's time for someone else to step in." I remember that. So we can remember the Thunder series with fondness, but after the Thunder series in 2006 and so forth, that's when NASCAR games started taking a nosedive. And to me, the last truly great NASCAR game was 2005 Thunder, NASCAR Thunder. But Dirt to Daytona is definitely up there. So those are the games I want to compare it to. I want to see how this stacks up. And those games were not perfect. So even though I might call those games great, it's because that's pretty much the best games we've had. and they gave us a lot more than recent NASCAR games have given us. Now, I know some people rave about NASCAR 2009 from EA, but that game was not a good game. What was good about it and what most people love about it is the online multiplayer. And back then, we're talking about 2009, that's almost 10 years ago. So you got to remember, not everyone had a good internet connection back then, and online multiplayer gaming was still uh, pretty young back then, right? It's not what it is. It wasn't what it is today. Now everything runs pretty smooth online, and everybody has internet. So online multiplayer racing is no big deal right now. But in 2009, it was a big deal, and they did a great job with the online multiplayer. But the game as a whole was not a good game, in my opinion, and it was the last EA game. So, like I said, the last really great game we had, I think, was 2005. Some people like 2006. It was not a bad game, right? But it was not as good as its predecessors, and it wasn't like Dirt to Daytona. Dirt to Daytona was really a great game. It gave you a little bit of everything. It was so deep and immersive. It was fun. So I want to see how this game stacks up to those games, and that's how I'm going to judge it. I cannot compare this to Project Cars or any of these other games. I just can't. It's not fair, and it's not being realistic. So that being said, I really liked this gameplay footage. It looks like a lot of fun. I just really hope that they tweak the difficulty. And I don't, so far everything we've seen, the game looks just so easy. I want to see some footage of someone like fighting for one spot, like lap after lap. That's the best. That's when racing is the most fun. Not blowing by so many cars so quickly. So I don't know if this is just their marketing, or, if this is on simulator at 103 difficulty, that worries me. So I've been very positive so far about everything I've seen, and I still feel good about it. But they definitely got to tweak that difficulty. They got to stop trying to cater so much to casual fans. Casual fans are not going to like a game that's too easy either. So give us a little more of a challenge. Make this AI a little more difficult. The AI, as far as the way they race, it looks very stable. They seem to run a little better than last year. Um, Again, that's another thing that looks better. Now, this is limited information we're getting, right? And some of this stuff can change as you play the game and you spend real time on it. You start seeing things how they really are. So, I can only judge from the limited information we've seen. But I like it. I like almost everything. And, hopefully they really got to tweak this up a little bit. Give us a challenge. I That's the only thing negative that I could say so far that I don't like. It just looks too easy. When I first saw the footage, I thought, okay, they put this thing on arcade mode again or whatever. But then when I saw Radman's take on it, he said it was on 103 difficulty and simulator. So if that's true, that does change things a bit for me. So I'm not down on the game. I'm still excited about it. I still think it looks like a ton of fun. But if that AI is not challenging, that's going to hurt the game. So I trust that they are working on it. Okay. And maybe there's more we don't know. And that's pretty much my main concern right now. Still don't know anything about career mode. Still waiting for them to talk about that. But I loved it. I loved the Eldora gameplay footage. It looks like fun. Uh, it looked cool seeing these trucks slide around. The guy was able to run high, low, and like I said, the physics don't seem like super realistic, but you know what? This is not a full blown simulator. And the fact is, I never, I paid attention to it the second time around that I saw the video. And I said, let me see if this guy's 100% on the throttle. And he wasn't. You can hear him coming off the throttle at points. So they could still tweak that and make it a little more challenging. And like I said, make the difficulty a little tougher than that. Um, and I think you'll have a fantastic experience. So I look forward to see what's next. I'm excited. What do you guys think about the Eldora footage? And what do you think about some of the things I talked about? Um, I can't wait for this game. It looks really good. Also, just for those of you guys, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned that I ordered a motion simulator from Canis Motion Simulators out in the UK. Um, I think they just about finished building it, so they're waiting to get some shipping quotes. So as soon as I get this thing, I'm hoping to get it in a within the next few weeks. Hopefully, I don't know. This is the first time I've ordered something from halfway across the world. There's a lot involved, but once I get it, I'm gonna do a review on it. For those of you who are interested, I think this thing is so cool. It's the first motion simulator that you can use with both PC and consoles. They're the only ones. And you can play anything that uses a G29 Logitech wheel. It will work with this motion simulator. And I've been waiting for something like this for a long time, so I'm excited. I think that's going to elevate the fun factor to any race game. Okay? I can't wait to get it. And once I do, I'm going to do a review. I'll show it to you guys. And, so until then, I guess till we get more information, I'll see you guys around. I look forward to your comments later.